Hello, Sasha! Here we go again.
Yeah, another Saturday, right?
Another Saturday show.
So, hello everybody. This is Jeffrey.
It's good to be back again.
This is Sasha.
Somehow we're still alive. Nobody has sent the Trump Gestapo to kill us yet, so we're
Not
still
yet,
going.
Not yet. Like they didn't send us home, especially me.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, you mentioned that you might want to compare, since it's becoming the anniversary of World War II. Maybe you want to compare what's going on now to what happened in the 1930s in Germany.
So, like, it's gonna be 80 years from since the World War II has ended, and it will be on the 8th of May. This is for Western civilization, and for Soviet, post-Soviet countries, it's a May of 9th. And the difference of one day is that Germans capitulated on May 8th, but Stalin, who was the main figure like in Soviet Union, decided it's not good enough, so he went like and he made everybody to resign that capitulation papers next day with General Zhukov.
I actually did not know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so that's how the difference between, but it's 80 years and it was supposed to be, there was no war and everything is great, but we kind of like as like people of this world, we asking for trouble, and it's just crazy. It's just like we're like sinking to some hole where like we need to pedal ourselves back up, and I don't
Well, the comparison that we have to make, which you might be able to help explain, is how in the case of Hitler, that some insignificant corporal can become, the dictator that he became. So, main Führer. So, and the thing is that now we're going through the same thing with Trump, who also has made it clear right from the beginning. He told everybody, I will be a dictator, or I will only be a dictator on day one. No, he lied. I will start being a dictator on day one, which was more appropriate. Go ahead.
It's just like, to me, like what he says, like it doesn't matter. The thing is just like what's going on with the country, and you have to keep in mind comparing Hitler and Trump is very slippery slope, because yes, Trump is not a dictator, but he wants to be an authoritarian. But the problem that where the country is going, you have to keep in mind that Hitler came to power in 1933 when in Germany was a democratic country with many parties in the Congress, wherever it is, and his party, Hitler's party, offered the best view of the future of Germany, which is concentrating of the nationality, the power of the nation, and how Germany was supposed to be the best nation in the world.
But they were also, don't forget, recovering from the loss of World War I.
I don't think it was significant in that sense to compare like today, because if you think about that, what we're comparing that in Germany there was all it was a democratic country as now in United States, and then Hitler came as a good guy who was promoting the self-esteem of the country, that the power of nation. The same with Trump. And then Hitler said like, look, or maybe thought with Goebbels, Dr. Goebbels and other guys, we need the common enemy, so to unite the nation. So compared to Germany found the common enemy, Jewish people, and they decided, they said that Germany is supposed to get rid of Jews to purify the nation. Trump, with his ideas, he needs to purify the nation but send illegal immigrants out, which I agree, illegal immigrants shouldn't have a status. But we're just comparing the ideas.
Well, one of the arguments that I'm having, not so much with you, but with other people,
Thank you, not for me, with me.
I have a good friend of mine who's in Israel, and everybody keeps saying yes, but immigrants shouldn't have any rights in the United States, and that's not how this country.
Can I just? This is a very good point.
Let me make
please.
one, because the laws in the United States, if your 2 feet are on American soil, if you're standing, it doesn't matter if you're MS-13 or you've killed 300 people or things like that. If you're standing on American soil, you are applicable to the rules of law. And that's the way it works. So no, I agree. They have to be, they have to be thrown out or things like that. But it has to be done through the courts.
I kind of a little bit disagree. But let me just go back to compare that Nazi Germany and today, and that's where the line has been drawn. That the courts of United States started stopping Trump from this totalitarian regime, that everybody can be cut on the street, put in an airplane or a bus and just shipped it away, or done something what they want to do with any person. This is a slippery slope. This is how it starts. And go ahead.
Yeah, but if he would do everything legally,
agree.
Then there is no slippery slope. Everybody would agree.
But that's hold on.
He's doing it legally. He's doing it correctly. Now he can throw the people out.
Jeffrey,
because
I want to compare why Germany and people who comparing Trump with Hitler, where they getting wrong stuff. It's not about Hitler and Trump. It's about the situation where we're driving the country. And if nobody stops Trump's ideas now, then we will go to the next level. Because in Germany, some Jewish people left the country right away. Some of them say, why would we leave? So they got in jail, and then they got punished, and then it's escalated to be killed. And
before that, you should also realize that some Jewish people are the people that sponsored Hitler to get into power in the first place. Not many, but a few very influential people.
It's I'm trying to get the point okay. The point I'm trying to make is that the comparison is not in the personalities, comparison in the situation. So if you do bad things, it escalates. Jewish people stop, they start being killed and put in concentration camps, because there was something has to be done, and everybody was supporting Hitler, and the level of resistance of good ideas gone so down. And the same is happening here. People say, no, why should we give any due date at court? So,
can I throw in one humorous story?
Please.
Just because we're always a little bit too serious on it. There's a very famous story. Supposedly, there's a guy by the name of Berkowitz. And so when he goes to heaven, because he wants to meet God, so they send him to heaven. He knocks at the pearly gates, and they say, "Who is he?" He said, "My name is Berkowitz, and I have come to ask the boss a question." He said, "Really?" He said, "Yes. Can you see if he's available?" He said, "Sure." So the guy goes into into this big hall, and then meantime he's standing there saying, "Da da 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 da." Heaven. Anyway, so he comes out a few minutes later and says, "Yes, he will see you." And so he walks through the doors, and you hear boom, a giant crash. And then they says, "Yes, who are you?" He said, "My name is Berkowitz, and I'm the representative of the Jewish people downstairs. And they have sent me here to ask you a question." And said, boom, "Yes, Mr. Berkowitz, what is your question? Is it true that we are the chosen people?" Boom! "Yes, Mr. Berkowitz, you are the chosen people." Listen, could you do us a small favor? "Yes. would you mind choosing somebody else for a change? Anyway, so that seems to be the history of our people.
Yeah, so like, but the point today, right now, so like it's good that courts are working. My point would be that if you come like without illegally here and you stop on the street, and I don't know how like can we stop people on the street, but if for example in some situation you ask like to show the documents, you have no documents, and you can be asked in different language, wherever the language of this person, do you have any paper or any intent or something to hold you here? And if person says no, I have no legal anything to do here, this person should be asked what country we are going to take you. And there shouldn't be any court date. If a person says, hey, I have some legal statute that I can be here, I'm asking for a court date, he should be awarded.
But now, Trump has passed another one of his ridiculous executive orders saying there's only one language in the United States, it's English. And he has actually closed down every website that has Spanish translations or French translations or Chinese translations. So whether you speak English or not, you have to speak English when you're stopped. So everything that can go against the person who's being stopped, they're being stopped by people in mass with no warrants, with no reason to pull you over. You know, in the United States, people don't generally carry identification,
No,
but that makes a difference. You know, in Europe, you have to have your identity card with you all the time, but not here.
Yeah, but it's not a problem. You can also say like, here's my cell phone, here's my address, here's like I'm a legal citizen, I have means to be here. I don't think it's a problem. The problem is that who cares right now? Like Trump is trying like to bring all that craziness without resolving anything. Wherever he's doing is kind of like manipulation. Nothing is being done. If you forget about like all like illegal immigrants, tariffs, what is the point like in your life, in my life, where are we going? What is the future? Are we building new industries? Are we like, what is going on?
Okay, but he still has no right to create gulags in this country, and the way he got around it is by creating the gulags and paying for them in other countries. That, look, I'm perfectly happy with a lot of these people have to go, but they have to go under the rules of law. And it's not that difficult. Basically, all it does is tie these potential criminals up for one day and have a warrant.
And that's the trap that you and most of the Americans go to.
Why is it a trap? If you're Hispanic looking, if you're black or things like that, you've already got 3 strikes against you.
Right. The trap is not what you said. The trap is to discuss this issue and not to discuss the main point. Where's the plan for our country? What is the like future? Like if you taxing because every idiotic stuff that Trump is offering is debatable. It's not fiscally responsible. And we are discussing all of that instead taking our attention to how it's going to help us.
When you look back at other administrations, whether it's Biden or Obama or Carter or even the Bush administrations, there were not 200 lawsuits going on in any day. Right now, right this minute, Trump has 225 lawsuits against him.
As you know.
And no,
as you know right now, because it's coming every day.
And there's usually 5 more each day. And the worst thing is he's losing most of them. Why? Because he's basically breaking the law. Breaking the law. And then, for me, my complaint about Trump, for the most part, is Trump's presidency is based on one thing. It's not based on Americans to make society better, to make the economy better, to make everything better. It's all based on one person's massive ego. And that ego, massive ego, has been the staple of his life since he was a student. So everything he does, I mean, he says, "Oh, the art of the deal." He didn't write a goddamn word of that art of the deal.
Jeff,
wait,
Ricardo. Okay.
wait.
Okay,
So
okay, okay.
I hate to interrupt. He didn't write one word, and he went bankrupt 6 times. So tell me where he's qualified to even write the art of the deal.
But he has an art of like manipulating and making people believe that he knows something and he does something right.
How does he do that?
He created the image from very young time. He created the image that he is the richest person, he is most successful person. Plus he made like many comments and appearances as he is knows things like in real estate. He knows, and I can feel that like, or like that he's a great guy.
No, but I don't think he's a great guy. I think he's a great salesman.
Again, I agree with that. It's not that he created.
But you know, if you read, you know, the one thing that everybody says, including the people who did the biographies for Trump, they all said that I kept thinking that the book that was in his night table was Mein Kampf. I stand corrected. It wasn't Mein Kampf. The book that he cares about, that is his night table, are the speeches of Adolf Hitler. And Hitler speaks all the time. He says, you know, that Hitler totally believed in lying. And Trump says the same thing. And he believes if you tell the same lie enough times every day, then gullible people will believe you. And that's what's hurting our country now.
Our country, like, and this is very important, hurting not just Trump. People are tired of Democrats and social democrats. The idea of socialism doesn't work. And with the credit cards, with the loans, with the interest rates, making people life better because of the government programs, it doesn't work. It will work up to certain time, like in Soviet Union, and then it all blows, kind of blows up. So, and that's response for many people that they brought Trump on the top, because they don't know how to fight Democrats.
On the other hand, everything Trump did, for the most part, throughout his business life, was done on credit. Was done on credit and screwing banks, especially Deutsche Bank. So
not screwing. No, he worked with them. They were benefited too.
But when you say he worked with them, he sold them a bill of goods also.
Right, but again, you see, we are coming back to Trump. But what happens? And I was explaining. I went like to see, what is his name, Chris Christie, in a town hall meeting in New Hampshire.
And he's a smart guy.
He's a smart guy, but he's not electable. You see, what happens, that's why I came from Los Angeles to New Hampshire, like Keene, New Hampshire, like God knows where. Like I was very tired, like when I just came. But I introduced with many people, great people in New Hampshire, like very educated and humble people. And I was sitting actually with like one guy, his name McDonald, and I forgot like his first name.
Isn't that Bernie Sanders' state?
No. Bernie Sanders is New Hampshire. Richmond. No, it's not Bernie Sanders.
No, it's not Virginia either.
No. But it doesn't.
Okay,
Jeffrey.
Okay. Sorry about that.
So I was sitting with this guy, last name McDonald, and he's like a leader of Republican Party in New Hampshire, and then his Chris Christie's wife. So, and I said to him like, look, how do you explain as a Republican to all Democrats or social democrats that the idea of their proposing doesn't work? And he couldn't respond to this question. Like I said, like in one sentence. And I will tell you right now, the problem is that our country is based on capitalistic idea. It's built on capitalism, on the free market. So if you, as a Democrat or social democrat, you are trying to build a different type of a country when it's all built on capitalistic backbone, you cannot do it. You're destroying. It's like you trying to make a ship to fly. It doesn't fly because it's built to sail.
Okay, let me ask you a question about that, because Trump is, with his nonsense mathematics. I mean, the guy. I'm sure if he had to count to 13, he would have to take a shoe off. He needs three more toes. So anyway, but the main reason I say that is because the whole idea of tariffs and to make each country that has the same amount of import and export is not even feasible. Personally, I'm perfectly happy that China makes every stupid, cheap, garbage product in the world, and people who want these cheap garbage products buy them from China. But I'm very happy when China starts buying, intelligent products from us, well-made products, whether it's Tesla or iPhones or things like that. Even if they make them there, they can make them cheaper than we can. So
what's the fight?
So for me, tariffs. First of all, there's no question tariffs are a tax on the people. We're all getting screwed by tariffs all over the world. But tariffs is a dumb thing. We're better.
But hold on. It's everything what Trump does. It's dumb. It's very dumb. Not everything, but most of them. But the problem is that you have to ask not like about tariffs. What's the point behind the tariffs? Why are you implementing the tariffs? And the answer, I get from people how they understand, because Trump is not explaining. They say because it has to be fair. Wherever they charge us, we charge. And it's just who cares about fair? You buying a cheap product for nothing almost. We cannot produce this product here. What is the point? Are you saying you don't wanna buy this product, so don't buy it? What's the point of tariffs? And then fentanyl. It's Trump, first it started with fentanyl, if you remember.
Yeah.
He said I'm going to impose the tariffs and the fentanyl will, the shipment of fentanyl will disappear. Now nobody's talking about fentanyl. Now it's who cares about fentanyl?
Yeah, because he's actually done a pretty good job for the fentanyl.
I don't know.
Yeah, apparently the fentanyl, a lot of the fentanyl has been blocked. Because there's no question that the immigration problem on the southern border is 10 times better right now. Nobody wants to come in because most of the people who are in the country are wondering if they can get out without having to make a rest stop in El Salvador. So.
Yeah, it's just the point again. If you worry about illegal coming in, you have to change the laws. And in my book, I explaining how to do illegal immigration, how to resolve illegal immigration. But it's everything what Trump did. It doesn't make any sense. But people are like you, Jeff. You guys discussing it. Instead of just asking a major question, why are we doing that? What is the point? And at the end, there is no major point for the country besides, and we are shifting ourselves from the main issues. The budget is not balanced, the spending are out of control, the interest rate must be now like this. We need a different show for interest rate.
But the one thing that is certainly true is that if the Democrats want to come up with a valid fight against all this, they need to come up with a plan.
That's what we discussed last time.
And
what's your plan, guys?
But a plan that works. So if any of you have a suggestion, what can the Democrats actually do that everybody will listen to, that sounds like a real plan that can help the country recover? You can't recover look, everybody pays taxes. everybody pays taxes, and everybody.
Not everybody, but
Most
some
people, and almost everybody would like to get a positive return on their taxes. What's a positive return?
What is it?
Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Using our tax money for scientific development, using our tax money to cure climate, to do all the things that you want our money to be invested in. But it's not to be invested in rich people, things like that, who first of all don't need the money and are just all the reasons are wrong.
No, Democrats from the other side. If you talking to Democrats, they don't want money to go to the rich people. And again, define rich people. The point is when you started very well. We need to understand. We need to have a good budget with the good ideas that it's sustainable. That's what's the problem. And Democrats don't have any budget which is sustainable without taxing more rich people, but not lowering the spending. If you don't lower the spending, then you don't have the country.
But where do you pick and choose to lower spending? That's the big problem. Right now, to spend the amount of money that we spend on the military is insane. Because right now, with modern weapons and modern development and modern science, you don't need a whole lot of military to destroy the world.
Can I just this is a very good point. Trump increased pushes to increase the budget for $5 trillion a year, or I think for this year, $5 trillion. This is not, he's not a Democrat, but he's increasing $5 trillion. And then he increased the budget for Pentagon for $1 trillion. And you say that's great, we need to defend our country. Listen, do you know how many tanks do we have? Do you know how many tanks do we have?
Hundreds of thousands, I would imagine.
No, we have 4,600 something. Yeah, but it's a lot. It's a lot.
Well, that's because we left most of them in Afghanistan. So.
No. That's all here. 45, let's say 5,000 tanks. How do you what do you do with tanks?
They're targets.
That's a great point. Right now, there's a different level of war. I was in tank division. I know what tank can do. I shoot every day it doesn't matter. So I understand that. The point is that tank, who you gonna go against? Tank goes mostly by the ground. It doesn't fly. It doesn't swim.
Yeah.
So who do you?
Well, even worse than that. Even worse. The main thing is that every major war in the future is going to take place in an office. One button.
Exactly.
But it's going to be all AI and all drones and all unmanned things. But what do they do with these things? They don't actually go after the military and things like that. It's who can destroy somebody else's infrastructure faster than the other person.
Absolutely. You destroy infrastructure and all the people in Los Angeles, you destroy the water supply. That's insane. Everybody go. This is we live in a different mentality. I don't know, if you take the budget for military, it should be cut. We don't need a big military as we have right now. So many.
But by the way, you just have to look what happened last week. Spain and Portugal and parts of France, the entire grid went down. In other words, for I think 1 or 2 days, all of a sudden, these countries were now put into the dark ages.
Yeah, so basically you on the right start talking about the budget. You need as a government, people must go, okay, this is a department of military. What do we need? And get rid we don't need those tanks. Maybe 80% of these tanks should be given away to Ukraine right now. We don't need those tanks. Yeah. They need
Yeah.
And anyways,
They would
and,
make great tractors.
and you say like, yeah, but then you say like, where's the money? About spending in Medicare, all that programs that government gives to Medicare, like suppliers, they buy cheap and shitty product from China for no reason to make money. There is so much. What do you call it?
But
Like,
they also, but they also get some good products from China also.
it's
Hey,
not
look,
about.
look,
Yeah.
look, the China is a whole. There's a whole political thing because China. Every time the United States screws up in some place in the world, whether it's in the United States, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in Asia, China's there within seconds to take our place. That's the biggest threat to the United States, is that when you have a country like China who literally says, well, you don't want to deal with the United States, deal with us and you'll have everything you really
Very
want.
good point, Jeffrey. And also, like, if you think about that, why do we take jobs from China? We need to give them more jobs that people we don't need, like manufacturing, like small products of manufacturing. Barbies, wherever it is. We need to concentrate on big tickets items, on the AI, on the robots. Like, we need like to go to the next generation ideas and let other people who build and have infrastructure to do the manufacturing and stuff like that. China should be our partner. Yes, they steal our like ideas. Okay, so make sure that they don't, because it's not China. It's just like so crazy. I mean,
Well, let's be fair. We steal their ideas also.
yeah.
I've been to China many times now, and I was supposed to go to China for the first time with Richard Nixon, and at the time I was finishing my master's degree. I actually took courses on Mao, who was still alive. I played for Chou En-lai, who was the assistant premier of China. And at the day before the trip, they canceled the orchestra, and they only, and so none of the musicians went. I was heartbroken. I was studying Tai Chi. I was into Confucius, and I was so disappointed not to go there. If I would have gone there and seen Shanghai or Beijing when it was still, everybody was
Undeveloped.
still wearing the Mao uniforms and things like that. And then when I finally went there, 25 years later, all of a sudden you're looking at shopping centers. Everybody's driving Audis and Mercedes. You've never seen such modern, beautiful roads in your whole life like they have in China. At night, like we would be going down a major highway.
All right, Jeffrey. So
Major highway, and there's 400 people cleaning the road every night. Unbelievable.
But the point again, so like if you're Democrat, like, hey, bring the ideas. If you don't, read my book, The Purple Vision. It's on Amazon by Sasha Geoff. And just like stop like blaming Trump. If you want to blame Trump, bring the ideas. Let's like bring the ideas and then support our ideas. Let's.
Okay, well, and then a few little things, it's interesting to see because finally Trump fired somebody today. And so he fired, what was his name again? Waltz. They fired Waltz.
Mike Ward.
Yeah, so who was very important, mainly because of the scandal with Signal. So what does he do with Waltz now? He promotes him. So somebody had this great line. I said, so the only way you could describe the people that work for Trump is they fail their way to the top, and now he's going to be head of the UN ambassador.
Again, like I just don't care about Trump anymore. I need people like to either offer something or shut up, because we are drawn into the arguments and like kitchen sinks like throwing each other. The problem we need like to understand, balance the budget of what do we do with the economy, how to cut costs. These things you don't hear those things, and that's important. So if you want to participate, sign up for our channels and just like help us talk about this. Comment, and I think we'll.
And if we get somebody really interesting who would like to join the show, that would be great.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we do the best we can as two brilliant people. However, 3 brilliant people could be even better than
Or
2 brilliant
25 or 30. Take care,
So,
guys.
okay, we'll see you all soon. Thanks for enjoying our podcast.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.